they're not in their graves.
Well, hello there, my creatures of the night, and welcome to Saturday Night Horror Theater! In tonight's bone-chilling episode, we'll be reviewing Puppet Master, the Littlest Reich. Alright, my fiendish horror fans, let's get it started. Puppet Master, the Littlest Reich stars Thomas Lennon as Edgar, a comic book artist who is recently divorced and has to move in back with his parents. And well, the story kind of takes its place from there. And this film, it really moves at a breakneck pace, and that's one of the problems I have with this film is how quickly it moves. It shows Edgar, aka Thomas Lennon, move into his parents' house, and he automatically finds one of the puppets, and he automatically finds out about this toy convention where there will be auctioning off said puppets, and he says, hey, why don't I go to this auction and sell this puppet, make myself a little bit of money?
That makes sense to me.
That's not before he meets a random girl who knocks on his window and is like, hey, you want to be boyfriend and girlfriend? And he's like, well, sure. And that's how fast this movie moves. And that's, like I said, one of its biggest problems is that it moves too fucking fast. I feel like I missed one movie before that there's something missing here, and this whole movie gives you that vibe of there's something missing. However, I will say this film is a gore before substance type of film. There's not really, there is a plot, but the plot is paper thin. It almost feels as if the story and characters were an afterthought to the gore. This film's main interest and main goal is just to show you the gore, and that is fun if that's all you want to see. But me personally, I like my horror with a little bit of meat on its bones. And this is just bones, sadly. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you fiendish horror fans and say that it's not a fun, gore-tastic ride. But it's something that leaves you lacking, and you want more out of this film. And that's not to say that this film isn't fun and it's entertaining. It's an entertaining film from what it is, but all it is just a gory gore fest with no substance. And again, you might be saying to yourself, well, you dumb fucking idiot, it's Puppet Master the Littlest Reich. What did you expect? Some cinematic opus? No, I did not, you fucking asshole. But I did expect for them to have a little bit of cohesive story. This film is riddled with plot holes. It has bad acting. It has some real shitty scenes here. But I get the feeling that this film was supposed to be that way. And the reason I say that is because this film plays like a comedic gore fest, and it's more comedy than it is horror. I don't ever think I found myself feeling scared throughout the movie. However, I did find myself laughing at certain points when the movie did want me to laugh, and for that I gotta commend the film for doing so. But like I said, at the end of the day, this film feels like you ate a salad when you really wanted a burger, if that analogy makes sense to you. Going back to the story of this film, the story is essentially comic book writer Thomas Lennon, aka Edgar, is down on his luck. He finds this puppet and he's like, hey, I'm going to use this to make some money. And through that, he meets a girl named Ashley, and he gets together with her. They start dating, and they meet his boss slash best friend, and they all say, hey, let's go to this auction together. And they go to this auction together, and they find out about Andre Toulon, who is more or less kind of the main antagonist for this film. Even though he's hardly ever seen, he is the main antagonist for this film. He's what brings these puppets to life, even though the film doesn't really explain that. It doesn't really explain really anything. Like I said, this is a gore over substance type film, and if you want to watch that sort of thing, by all means. But this film, what it really lacks is characters, and there's no character development in this film. And again, I know what you're saying. It's Puppet Master, the Littlest Reich. What did you expect? The puppets are going to be the main focal point, which they kind of aren't up until the last 45 minutes of the movie, 30 to 45 minutes. That's when you get to see all these puppets. The movie is about an hour and 30 minutes long, and the first hour kind of just centers around Thomas Lennon's character finding out that this puppet is worth money and that he wants to go to this auction, and he's kind of has this budding romance with this girl Ashley, and that's pretty much it. I can't really go too in depth with this Puppet Master review because there's not really anything to go that deep for this film. I mean, there's puppets, there's gore, there's silliness, there's bad acting. It's a B movie. It's a B movie through and through. However, I will say this is the most entertaining and most, well shot Puppet Master film throughout the whole entire series. This is the best Puppet Master film. However, that still isn't that great. I mean, I know some people are huge Puppet Master fans. I myself am not. I find them very boring. I find the whole Nazi Jew-hating lore very a snooze fest for me. However, this film, it makes some changes that in my opinion were well needed. Instead of the puppets being these anti-heroes, they're these Jew-hating serial killers because their master, Andre Toulon, is a Jew-hating serial killer, so that's what they do. And if you remember from the Puppet Master series, the puppets only do what their master tells them to do. So in that respect, it is kind of true to the lore of Puppet Master. I know some people had a problem with this film when it came out because they didn't like what they did with the puppets. I personally liked what they did with the puppets. Speaking of the puppets, the practical effects in this film are on point. I give the practical effects in this film a 10 out of 10. You should just watch this film just for the practical effects alone. The gore is there. The practical effects are really cool. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself a lot, and I know that I am because this film, I'm sorry to say, all it has to offer is those nice practical effects and that nice gore. I mean, I highly doubt there's going to be a lot of you that are going to want to sit through 95 minutes of grown adults shooting at toys. I mean, I did it, but I don't suggest you do it. only if you want to see that really amazing gore. And I think that's where I'm going to cut it off, guys. This film is a 5.5 out of 10 film. Although it is the best Puppet Master film in the series, it is still not very good. See, the film is so bad that I'm messing up with my grammar. I'm kidding, but the film, it's a 5.5 out of 10 film, and the way that they set this film up is as if there's going to be a sequel coming. However, I feel like this may be one of the cases where it sets up a sequel that we may never, ever see. I hope that isn't the case because I did enjoy this film. I did have fun with this film, and I do want to see a second Puppet Master film in this reboot because, like I said, I wasn't a real big fan of the original series, and I am kind of warming up to this new rebooted type feel that this Puppet Master film brings. So there you have it, my fiendish horror fans. Puppet Master is a 5.5 out of 10, and I don't want to say you should go out and rush out and see it, but if one of your friends has it, if you can find it on a site, or if you could watch it for free on Tubi TV or Hulu or whatever, wherever you watch movies, I suggest you check it out. It's a fun little watch to turn your brain off, to just see some cool horror gore. I'm Ryan T, and I'll see you in the next one.